Your ears do not deceive you. You have just entered the Cryptid Creator Corner brought to you by your friends at Comic Book Yeti. So without further ado, let's get on to the interview.
Hello and welcome to Comic Book Yeti's Cryptid Creator Corner. I'm one of your hosts, Jimmy Gasparo, and it's time for the fourth annual the 2025 Yeti Awards. This is where the folks at Comic Book Yeti, as well as our guests, go through and say what our favorites were this year. So we don't, if you have listened to other episodes in years past, we don't name like an overall winner or favorite. Although one of our guests, James, threatened he might. We don't get to read everything, but we just like to spotlight some of the things in indie comics that were our favorites. So these have all been put together by the contributors at Comic Book Yeti, as well as our guests, and also Megan Matelonek. I had reached out to her. She wasn't able to be on the podcast, but she reads a ton of indie comics, and her picks are in here as well. And for our guests, it is none other than David D.B. Andry and James B. Emmett. David and James, thank you so much for being on the fourth annual Yeti Awards.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It's so exciting to be here.
Yeah. I mean, James,
Yeah, I always
middle name's B. Well, what are we working with here, James?
I'll never tell. Imagine
I
just
love
like the secret.
Ooh.
The reason why I didn't used to have the B in there, and then I found out that like the owner of HSBC, the bank name, is also James Emmett, and I was like, well, SEO, it's like
I don't want to be him.
I have fun to be associated with that.
Loser.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know what I'm doing in life. I just try my best.
Well, I recorded an episode that's going to come out next week with Fred Kennedy about Mad Cave's Florida hippopotamus cocaine massacre, and your name came up, James, but also James, is it James Edward Clark is the artist for that book. So whenever Fred was talking, he had to make a point to say if he was talking about artist James or editor James. So
that's good.
That's also how we were able to distinguish you from your title.
Yeah, there's also too many Davids in comics, so that's why I got to throw the DB in there.
Just a few, just one or two.
There's like, you can't throw a stick without hitting the David. You got a Pepose over here, and you got a David Brothers over there, and it's just there's way too many of us.
So many.
There are Dave Scheidt, David Avalon,
Baker,
right?
There's Dave Chisholm. I mean, Dave. It's not David. Dave.
Yeah.
He goes
I was
by
at I was at Keep and CalCon 2 years ago, and there was 4 Davids in the row that I was in. Some level of Dave or David. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's really funny. God.
That's why your next story is like a Highlander-esque comic.
That's right. There can only be one.
Only one.
You're going through and trying to take out the other Davids in comics.
I think we should. I think all the Davids should get together and form their own publishing company. Just all Davids.
That's good too. I like that. Mighty Morphin David.
Oops, all Davids.
Oops, all Davids. All right. Well, I'm going to get things started for the 2025 Yeti Awards. We're going to start with excellence in writing. And again, these are just some of the folks that we like to highlight in indie comics for 2025 from the Comic Book Yeti contributors, as well as our guests. And as I said earlier, Megan. And so if you haven't checked out these books, please go ahead and do so. There's a lot of great stuff on here. From what we read this year. And so far, we have for excellence in writing, David Pepose for Space Ghost.
Drink with every David.
Yeah, every David you'll be wasted by the end.
right off the bat with a David. Declan Shalvey for Thundercats. John Lees for Orla, which I've been loving Orla. I think that's been a lot of fun. Dave Justus, another Dave Justus and Lilah Sturges. Student Government. Rick Quinn with Spectrum. Anthony Cleveland, buried long ago. Another series that I've been having a lot of fun with. Kelly Sue DeConnick, FML. Chris Cantwell for Out of Alcatraz. Jeff Lemire, Minor Arcana. Gerry Duggan, Falling in Love on the Pathway to Hell. Tim Daniel and another guy I haven't heard of before, David D.B. Andry for both Crush Depth and Red Vector. And finally, last but certainly not least, this was actually what I put on the list, Amy Chase for A Buzz, which was just one of my favorite graphic novels this year. I had Amy on the podcast. A Buzz is like a modern retelling of Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. It is so exceptionally well done, artwork by Stelladia, but Amy just knocks it out of the park with taking the Much Ado story and adapting it for a modern high school setting. I just thought it was tremendous and had to include Amy on this list for this year. So
yeah, Amy's great. I love her. I think she's a terrific writer in person.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I remember when that
100%
pitch,
agree.
and when that pitch came in, I remember talking about that and how we all really loved it and we were really excited about it. And yeah, it turned out great. It's awesome. It's a great story. It's awesome.
Are there any ones in particular in terms of the excellence in writing that, I mean, David, you can talk about yourself.
I did not put myself on this list. Full of disclosure, I don't know who put me on the list, but I put I believe Spectrum, Buried Long Ago, FML, and Out of Alcatraz were my lists. Kelly Sue DeConnick and Anthony Cleveland, Rick Quinn, and Chris Cantwell. And FML I think is an exceptional, very special book that I think we're lucky to have. And I think it's a book that it's a hard time going if you don't have a name like Kelly Sue DeConnick behind it, because it's just a really personal, there is a kid that turns into a monster and there is a serial killer in it. There's stuff in it, but I kind of describe it to people as a book both about being a parent of a teenager and being a teenager at the same time. And she does both of those things perfectly. And there hasn't been a single issue where I haven't cried at least once. So, I mean, for me, it's like it's a near perfect book because it's hitting all the like emotional beats that I love, and it's personal and it's weird and it's very specific. And it's the kind of stuff that I love because, I feel like the more specific and personal people get, the more interesting the stories are.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with all of that. James, were there any in particular that you really enjoyed this year that you were able to read on the list in terms of the writing?
Well, I feel really weird because a lot of these I edited. So, which is great. I'm like, yes.
And editors don't read comics for fun anymore, right?
Yeah,
really. No, but I go every week. I buy comics every week. I try to buy because I want to stay up to date on who's doing what and see what's out there. I think that's part of like my job, and I also love comic books. I really love them. So, I read a lot of these, but there's also some on this list that I have not read, and I'm going to definitely check out after this. So that's very exciting. Because I love to have an ever-growing list, and there's just a pile next to my bed of books I need to read. That doesn't make me feel intimidated or scared at all.
I have a short box full
that I'll never catch up on ever in my life.
No. I will say that these were picked. The comics that were picked and the surveys that were filled out were done by the Comic Book Yeti contributors like Byron O'Neill and Andrew Irvin, Louis Godoy. That was done before they knew who the guests were going to be. So just trust listeners that this was not skewed in any way. These were the things that the folks at Comic Book Yeti really, really enjoyed this year. So
what I
they
love
didn't know James and David were going to be on.
What I love too about this list is it's all over the place. There's superheroes. There's like Orla, which is a story about like dating. There's horror. There's Spectrum, which I think defies genre, which is one of the most interesting and compelling books that I think I've ever read. And again, that's a very, very special book that I think people need to check out. It may not be your jam, but it's something you haven't seen before. And I just love that about comics, is that we're all over the place. There's something here for everybody. And there's so much more than, not to bug the big two, but so much more than just plain old superheroes out there to read.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
and I love superheroes, but this is a very cool list of every genre, every type, of comic, of story, and something for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of big two. Well, I say big two, but I read mostly DC when I read big two stuff. But yeah, like the Absolute line, there's been a bunch of stories about how well that's been selling for DC, and it is really good. Like I've read Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman, at least the first collected trade of all of those. They're great. Um, Dark Patterns has been really good. So yeah, there's been a ton of, great stuff. But yeah, I can't think of a book like Spectrum like on the market. I just talked to Dave Chisholm. His episode's going to be out next week too about his new book coming out is Ted OK. And yeah, the work that Rick Quinn and Dave did on Spectrum is unreal. It's tough to put it into a certain box, to like pigeonhole it into, oh, this is this type of comic. There's a lot in there. There's a lot in there without it ever feeling dense or impenetrable, which I think is a real trick, real magic trick of comic making.
Well, and I think too, not to gas James up here, but so many of these are Mad Cave books, and I think it really shows which publisher is pushing the boundaries and really committing to indie comics. Not just IP, not just nostalgia stuff, not reboots, but true indie comics. Look at this list. There's so many different Mad Cave titles on here that it's really taking over for places like even like Image and Dark Horse and stuff that used to really be indie, and I think Mad Cave is really doing a good job of keeping indie comics going and letting us tell stories that other publishers are like, well, I don't see, this doesn't seem like a top seller, so we're not interested. This doesn't have the hook that we need to market it, and you don't have 100,000 followers on Instagram, so why are we going to publish your book? And it seems to me from the outside and from someone who has pitched to Mad Cave is they don't care about that stuff. They care about telling good stories and unique stories, and so I really appreciate like how much Mad Cave is on this list.
Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, so let's move on to excellence in artistry / illustration. David, do you want to try your hand at going through this, please?
I'll give it a shot. We have Ludo Lilah for Ghost Pepper, Jonathan Lau for Space Ghost, Sally Cantirino for Orla. I love Sally. Adam Szym, SZYM. I don't know how to say that. For Little Visitor and Other Abductions, Oni Press. Mahmud Asrar for Bug Wars, Eric Powell, Dr. Werthless, Lomig, John Muir, To the Heart of Solitude. I guess Lomig is the name. So I'm not familiar with a lot of these. David Chisholm for Spectrum, Letizia Cadosini, It Killed Everyone But Me, and Tristan Jones, Event Horizon, Dark Descent.
Awesome. Yeah, a ton of good choices on this list, and I love how varied this is in terms of, art style, and book and publisher. I will just say, Tristan Jones was the one I put on the list for Event Horizon, Dark Descent. I just feel like him and Christian Ward, that was like that could have gone really well, really poorly, but I really think they kind of nailed it. And I thought Tristan Jones' artwork for Event Horizon Dark Descent was absolutely tremendous. And also another one I just wanted to shout out that has been like a big one that I hadn't picked up at first when it came out, but then went back and caught up on the issues, was Bug Wars. And Mahmud Asrar's, I mean, the pitch was, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids meets Game of Thrones. And I cannot think of a comic book that more accurately, like, rises to the occasion of the pitch. His artwork is tremendous. It's a fantastic story. Jason Aaron's the writer. Yeah, Bug Wars, incredible.
I've been a big fan of Mahmud's for a long time. Like his art has, I'm like I've always wanted to work with him too. I've always reached out. He's such a nice guy. He's always like, I'm too busy. But he's is so talented and so nice. And yeah, I mean, Bug Wars is like a testament to all of that. Like he's so talented. It's crazy. So.
Yeah, it's not only like great illustration, it's great storytelling and great like action. Like his dynamic scenes and the way he lays stuff out, and just like when dudes are swiping their axes through another bug's body and the bug is just exploding into gore and viscera, I'm like, this is the best. Like it's just such a fun, it's a fun read. I don't think it's got some family and emotional stuff, but I don't think they're taking it too seriously, and it seems like they're just having a ton of fun. Let's do all this crazy stuff with this book, and just kind of burning through like plot and just like tons of action, and just a really, one of my favorites of the year definitely is Bug Wars.
Yeah. And we talked about with Rick Quinn Spectrum, but Dave Chisholm for Spectrum is on here. And again, I think it's some of the best work that I've seen from Dave, which I mean, I think is a high bar because Dave's done some incredible work over the years, whether or not it's the Miles Davis book or like Charlie Parker. He's just done some incredible comics, and Spectrum continued with every issue to really knock my socks off, both in the artwork, the paneling, the choices that he was making. Incredible.
It was wild working on that book because like every page that would come in was just like, oh no, this is the best. Oh no, this is the best. It was just like ridiculous. Like and then there's like this double page spread in like the last issue, and I was like, maybe this is the best. And I was just like, and we put together this giant collection of Spectrum. Like it's coming out next year, or it's like coming out this month, I think. God, everything in publishing takes forever, but also is like, oh, it's tomorrow. So but like we have like original artboards scans in there, and they're all like it's a beautiful book. So yeah, I'm obsessed with Spectrum.
Yeah, I think like if you take a look at one of his drawings, you're like, oh, he's pretty decent, draftsman. He's got the chops to draw comics. But then you look at his page layout and the choices he's making, and it is unlike anything else anyone is doing in comics. And I just fell into Spectrum, and just like, this is such an interesting, compelling book. And I think he gave me the first 3, I think, PDF to check out. And I just, I don't like digital comics. I don't like reading them on my computer or anything. And I just obsessed over those first couple of issues. It was so good and so well done. And I will definitely be picking up the hardcover because it deserves that level of attention.
Yeah,
it is.
Beautiful.
I mean, I think honestly, we're not naming best of the year, and I don't know if I would name it my favorite of the year, but I think it's the most, I don't know, original of the year, maybe the most interesting of the year.
I thought it was one of the most ambitious.
100%. You're not going to see anything else like it, and it's pushing comics medium forward, and it's doing things that other people aren't doing, and it's combining history and fantasy and reality and myth and legend and music, and it's like, I can't say enough good things about that book.
Yeah. And again, Jonathan Lau, Space Ghost. Space Ghost has just been great. Every issue, what him and David Pepose have been doing is incredible. Sally Cantirino, like I said, I've been loving Orla. I've been loving her and John Lee's working together. But Sally's she's done some of my other favorite books, like I Walk with Monsters. Sally Cantirino was the artist on. I thought was incredible. But yeah, Eric Powell's Dr. Werthless is really good. and just a book that I don't think enough folks are really talking about, but it killed everyone but me. I did get to interview Ryan Parrott about that, and Leticia Cadanici. It just artwork is incredible. I think she's been doing like a lot more stuff, a lot of stuff like recently. Think that's somebody, if folks don't know their name, you're going to be hearing it a lot more. But I think that her work on that book's really good.
She is such a rock star, and she's like one of those like hidden gems, and I think she's gonna pop off. Like I think like she did a book with Stephanie Williams for Ignition that had come out like right at the same time as It Killed Everyone But Me, and both with like It Killed Everyone But Me sold out. Like that was one of our like books that I was like, this is amazing. But she's also just like she's so professional. Like she gets all of her stuff in on time. She's communicative. She's really talented and really nice and a pleasure to work with. Yeah, I think she's great. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's move on. We have excellence in coloring. And James, do you want to take this? And for some of these, there isn't a book that it's attached to, so that's fine. But just their overall work for the year. But if you could go through that list.
I'm gonna do my very best with this first name because it's French, and I'm gonna do my best. Okay, Jean-Francois Belot. Sounds right-ish.
I think that's right.
That sounds good.
Mike Spicer.
Yes. Nailed that one. Good job.
Yeah, I killed that. That was great. I think everyone should change their name. Mike's and David's. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. Dearbla Kelly. Boo Cook for Void Runners Rebellion. Jason Wardy for Kaya and Morning Star. David Chisholm for Spectrum. Moreno Denizio for Grommets #7. Francesco Segala for Dark Empty Void. And Caitlin Yarsky, Living Hell.
All right. James, do you want to start? Are there any? No, you did great.
Yeah,
you want to start? Are there any in particular you want to highlight?
I mean, I think I added Francesco Segala because he's such a rock star. Like every time, obviously, I love Jason Wardy, love Dave Chisholm, love Dearbla Kelly. Like all these people are really, Mike Spicer. Like all these people are really talented. Caitlin Yarsky. But yeah, I probably could have added most of these names because I love them all. But having worked with Francesco Segala, on Dark Empty Void, and I worked with him on another project, The Last Wardens, which is 2024. I don't know what time is. Anyway, he's just such a rock star. Like he's so patient but also quick, but also understands color theory so well. He maps everything out in it's so crazy. Like he does all these thumbnails and he like sends them. He's like, this is what I was thinking for the color. Like he'll send it to you and you're like, oh, you really like, not that other art like colorists don't do this, but he was just like a smart, intelligent, interesting breakdown of everything, just like behind the scenes, kind of in the weeds, which I always like. I went to art school, so it's just like such a like, I was like, oh, this is such like a doorway into like your thought process and your how you work, which is really cool. Yeah, he's a rock star.
Awesome. Yeah, I put Caitlin Yarsky on the list. I'm a big fan of Caitlin, and I think technically the first issue of Living Hell came out at the towards the end of 2024, but I believe issues 2, 3, and 4 came out in 2025. And Caitlin wrote it, did the artwork, did the coloring. I love the color palette of that book. I loved everything about it. It was such like right in my wheelhouse. If folks aren't familiar with like the plot of Living Hell, basically the guy escapes hell and now he's just trying to live a life, and he kind of then gets caught up in having to maybe go and capture some of the other escapees from hell. And it is just it's a wonderful story. It's a wonderful book. And I think all of Caitlin's work in it is great. The coloring in particular, though, I just fell in love with, and her choices in terms of how she showed both the world in hell and like the real world. So yeah, I had to include her on that list. And then hopefully getting to talk to her again on the podcast. I believe her and Jude Ellison S. Doyle are going to be on they have a new book called Dead Teenagers with Oni Press, and I can't wait to talk to the two of them about it. So yeah, Caitlin's just awesome.
I'm a big fan of her work with, was it Sean Murphy?
Sean Lewis.
Sean Lewis with Coyotes, and yeah, I don't know if she colored that too, but her art is tremendous.
So
big
good.
fan of her. Yeah. Try to get her on a book, actually. She was busy. And
She's
All
a
right,
little
well,
difficult
she
to
said no. She
lock
said no.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a little popular.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
A little bit.
I put Wordy. I put Jason Wordy on because I'm going to put Jason Wordy on any list ever because
Absolutely.
to me, he's just he's so thoughtful and so like he gets so committed to each project, and he adds so much to the storytelling, and maybe that's just because I get to see the inks and then the colors and see the choices he's making and see how much he's contributing to storytelling and stuff. But like Morningstar wouldn't have been the same without him, and that's easy to say. I think that you have a lot of good colorists out there, and I think that I consider him more of a color artist because he's adding to the art of the book in a way that enhances storytelling. And I don't see a lot of other colorists doing that, or maybe I'm not smart enough to recognize it, but I could definitely see it in the stuff that I've worked on with him before. And he's my dude, and I love that guy. And he just commits, and he does such a good job at getting the vibe of the book and helping really push that across to the reader of like, hey, this is what you should be feeling at this moment. This is basically the soundtrack to the book, and get ready for something scary to happen because I'm changing the palette. Get ready for something cool to happen. And yeah, I love Wordy. He's the best.
No, he is. He's a complete rock star. I mean, when he working with him on Morningstar was just like, it was like, he's like one of those guys where it's like he just intuitively, or like,
Right.
I mean, he makes it look easy, which it means that it's probably not easy, or like he's done so much work that he knows how to do it really well.
Yeah.
Or all of the above. So yeah, no, he's just amazing.
But he
He's so good.
got those pages, and it's like, oh yeah, the style kind of looks like the 1950s. The stories happen in the 1950s. I'm going to create a completely new coloring style to color this book like it was colored in the 50s.
It was wild.
It was wild. And you come in and pages have thumbprints on them, like they were handled by people putting into a printing press. They have smudges. Sometimes the color's slightly off. It's all the little dots and stuff. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm like, what are you doing, man? And I'm like, this is you're doing so much work that no one's ever gonna appreciate other than like me and James and Tim. Like, that's it. You're doing this for literally 3 people, and I love you for it. And yeah, I think subconsciously people got it. I think everybody who reads it recognizes that something unique is happening with the colors. They might not like outwardly notice it, but like when they flip through that book, they're like, oh, this looks different than literally everything else on the shelf.
I will say, like, I've read reviews, which I try not to do. I try not to read reviews because it's either like if you believe the good ones, you also have to believe the bad ones, which I don't want to take that on because I'll mess up your whole head and I have to move on. But I will say that a lot of people shouted out the colors and really talked about Jason. I mean, the whole book is so good that I'm a huge fan of Morningstar. I worked on it, so I get to say that as if like I'm an impartial person. But no, it's awesome.
I also, just because it's come up in some of the other categories, but in particular, Deborah Kelly was the colorist on Orla, and so if you hear the name and you're like, oh, what do I need to check out? We've mentioned John Lee, Sally Cantirino. Like, Orla has just been a favorite of mine. In particular, I'm not sure which who Comic Book Yeti put Dear on, but but Orla's been fantastic, and you should definitely check that out because Comic Book Yeti really likes Orla this year. So there we go.
They have great pace.
All right.
That's why. Orla, freaking great. It's really good.
David, can you go through and for the Yeti Awards for the exceptional editors?
I would be proud to. We are going to start with Theo Dones Lingwin, a Wizard of Earthsea, HarperCollins, and then someone named James B. Emmett, who works for a company called Mad Cave.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of Heather Antos, Bug Wars, Sierra Hahn, Epitaphs from the Abyss, Will Dennis, Come Find Me Distillery. And come on. I mean, 50% of the books on every list is James editing them. So, I think that speaks for itself, right? I don't know how from the outside you go, wow, this book was really well edited because you didn't see the process. But like, as someone who has worked with James multiple times and hopefully multiple more times in the future, I know what a great editor he is. But I think you just look at the variety of books that he edits and how happy all the creators are to have worked at Mad Cave, which is, I know they say Mad Cave, but they really mean working with James because that's really their connection to the company, right? I'm not talking to the bosses. I'm not talking to, you have a couple of meetings with promotional people and stuff, but every day you're talking to James. So if you're happy working at a company, it's because you're happy working with that editor. So I think if you ask every single creative that has worked with Mad Cave, I bet you're going to have over 99% approval rating. And that's very, very, very unusual for comics to be very happy at the places you're working.
Yeah, James, you were lucky. Not you were lucky enough. I was lucky enough for you to come on the podcast for us to chat.
No, you were right the first time.
You were lucky.
Yeah.
You
really scored.
I said it. No, but I wanted to have you on and talk to you because I wanted to talk to more editors in particular. But your name kept coming up a lot. Like when I would talk to the folks who were making the books, and I like to get in the weeds a little bit on the podcast if I can. Like talk about the process. Like, what is it really like? Let's demystify making comics if we can. And your name was coming up a ton. And I don't think editors in general get enough credit for the role that they play in the storytelling, the comic book making process. And, so we wanted to try and do something to highlight those folks that probably don't get, mentioned all the time. But in particular, I think your name comes up a lot, and the other is Heather Antos, who I think right now is the group editor if I'm at IDW for the Star Trek line. But Heather also edited Bug Wars. She does freelance editing work as well, and just another person whose name comes up a lot, where creators are saying, she made the book better. And yeah, James, your name comes up a ton in terms of the books you've worked on, and a lot of the ones you've worked on are on this list because I think the same thing was probably true last year. There's just been a lot of really, really great books that your name is attached to because of the work you put into it. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. That's it.
It's a huge honor because also the other people on this list are amazing. So, it's I think that the goal of an editor is to not be seen, basically. It's if you're doing your job well, it's kind of like the letterer where you kind of just go, there it is, and it should seamlessly not be felt. I shouldn't be felt too heavily at all, and to kind of help get the books out and hopefully lead everybody to where they need to go, basically, and be it's funny because I always describe an editor as we wear multiple hats. We're doing a lot of different things. We're doing project management and editing and copy editing, art direction, and also therapy. I'll hop on a call with the creator and be like, how are you doing? Let's walk off the ledge. Let's have a conversation. How's everybody doing? And we hear everything.
Breaking kneecaps.
Yeah, it's very that. And then we have to also be well, the deadline's tomorrow. So if you could, get get off your sick bed for a moment and draw that page would be great. But you say it like in a nice way. But yeah, no, thank you. And I mean, I put down Heather because I know her work for a long time now, and I know how hard she works, and I know her level of like expectation of what she expects, not just like from everybody else, but from herself, and from other editors and everything. So her reputation is, I think, pretty well deserved. Yeah. So, and
Yeah,
Will Dennis,
awesome.
Will Dennis.
And I just
Right.
I think if you look at the books again, if we look at the variety of books that James has edited and how each book maintains its uniqueness, right? There's nothing in Morningstar that's like Spectrum. There's nothing in Spectrum like Orla. He's really helping us tell the story that we want to tell and making sure that we're getting the point across that we want to get across, that we don't get lost in the weeds and we don't get lost in the sauce, and like keep us focused in on what we're trying to do. And I think you could have editors that are very heavy handed that want to really change the story. And you can have editors that are basically invisible ghosts who like, okay, thanks for turning in those scripts. And it's like, okay, I guess we're done talking. And then I think James is walking the perfect balance of, stepping in when he needs to and assisting with story elements and like making sure that the team is staying focused on, what the goal of the book is and what story you're trying to tell. And I think that shows with how unique each book is, but has the, common thread of, of being a told story through all of his books that he's edited. So I put James's name on, but I'm sure 20 other people would have put his name on too.
I think so. I definitely agree with that. And just real quick about Sierra Hahn, those books that have been coming out, Epitaphs from the Abyss, those anthologies, all this stuff really. I think it's Oni that's been doing like the EC stuff, the Cruel Universe, Cruel Kingdom. Like, I love anthologies. It's great to show off a bunch of different writers and artists. And so, listeners, if you haven't had a chance, pick up Epitaphs from the Abyss, pick up any of those Oni EC books. Just some really top-notch storytelling. So do that. They've been wonderful. I've been loving each and every issue I've had a chance to check out. All right, we're going to move on to the excellence in lettering. And some of these letters have a particular title. Some don't. It's just the body of the work that they've done this year. But we're going to go through them now. Becca Carey, Exquisite Corpses. Clayton Cowles, Die, Loaded. Hassan Otsmani Elhow. Aditya Bidikar. Damian Duffy, Parable of the Talents. That's from Abrams Comic Arts. Lucas Gattoni. Buddy Beaudoin. I love Buddy. Jim Campbell, Into the Unbeing Part 2, and Taylor Esposito. Buddy, I've worked with Buddy. He's lettered a bunch of stuff for me, including Paper Cuts Penny and the Yeti coming out.
Hey, that's right.
April 21st.
Self promote.
Just a subtle plug. Yeah, there.
Yeah. I am. Yeah, I'm as subtle as a sledgehammer.
Good. You should be
But
promoting your book on top of everything else. Exactly.
I'm a huge fan of lettering. One of the things I did for Comic Book Yeti was to do, like, we did written interviews with I don't know if it was the end of 2022 or 23. I tried to get as many letters as I could, like 20 to 25, and just talk to them about like their craft, do like short little interviews. Lettering is such an important part of the comic experience. I mean, just some incredible letterers on this list this year are doing amazing work. But I love what Buddy's been doing this year. I've been a big fan of Taylor Esposito for a long time. Jim Campbell's work on Into the Unbeing Part 2. If you haven't had a chance to read that, it's written by Zach Thompson, artwork by Hayden Sherman. It was just absolutely phenomenal book. So yeah, I don't know if there's anybody else either of you wanna highlight.
I put Lucas on here just because I love Lucas. Lucas Cantoni is probably one of the nicest dudes ever, and just a sweetheart. And he lettered some of my self-published stuff, and so I love watching him, go up the kind of chain of like he was doing like self-published Kickstarter stuff, and then he's doing indie stuff, and now he's doing like a ton of DC stuff. And I keep like saying, hey buddy, we're gonna work together again sometime, like yay. And just that it hasn't happened yet, but I will have him on a book in the future if I can help it, if he's not too busy. But yeah, he's one of my favorite people. And Buddy is also awesome. Obviously did Red Vector, did an awesome job. I think, like James said earlier, if you notice the lettering, then it's probably not doing a good job. And that's usually like when, like, we're on I'm on an indie comics Discord, and I get a lot of people like sending me stuff. How does this page look? How does this page look? And it's usually just like, that letterer is just trying to flex way too much. I mean, like every word has a different font. Every balloon is different. It's like everyone's shouting at you the entire time. It's really a subtle art to get that across. So if you're noticing the lettering, that's usually not great unless you're like, wow, that's really an amazing like sound effects or something. But yeah, all letters I've ever worked with, I have nothing bad to say about Andy. I work with Jim, I work with Buddy, I work with Lucas, and they usually are pretty quiet people, and they just do their thing and go on to the next thing. Like I think I got one message for Jim the entire time we did End After End, which is like a 10 issue story, and so it's like no interaction with them, but he just banged out those pages and everything was perfect. It's like, oh, okay, this is really easy to work with you. So
yeah, Lucas also, just because it keeps coming up time and time again in this list, Lucas lettered Orla. So
hey, there we go. More Orla love.
A lot of Orla.
I guess the take home is everybody go buy Orla.
Go buy Orla,
out?
which I
think
agree
the
with.
trade's out, right, James? It's
I think
soon.
so.
It's either out or soon.
It's a book.
No.
One of these books I didn't edit, so I get to not. No, I don't know. But but we did. We brought it on. I was really excited about it because it was so good.
Yeah, I think it came out around. It was coming out the same time as like Red Vector, so I'm sure the trade should be out shortly.
I think for those wondering, I believe the Orla trade will be out March 3rd.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. I don't know when the Red Vector trade is out, so I can't promote my own.
We'll find
book.
out.
Yeah,
we'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. I guess I should know that. Should I be knowing
that?
No,
you're done. You're done with that book. That book's
well, that's the thing. It's so funny because you work on these things and then you're like, great, I'm done. I don't have to worry about this anymore.
Yeah.
Next, and then So it's not fair all the time because I'm just like, when is that? Okay, I have February 4th in the direct market and the 3rd in the book market for Red Vector.
Let's go.
Yeah, I looked it up. I was just going to say.
I had to go to like
I almost put Chris Evan Hewson's and Sean Wiener as like artists and colorists because they could. I didn't want to fill this up with promoting my own book, but let's promote it for a second. Chris Evan Hughes actually is like just a rock star of an artist to me. And I've had like, I do sometimes read reviews, and I've heard reviews of his art saying like, oh, it looks too cardboardy or something. I'm like, so you're telling me his art looks too perfect, and that's the problem. Like he draws people too perfectly.
Too perfect.
Like,
they're too pretty.
Like, everyone's gorgeous. Everyone is like perfect looking, and his partner does the color, and it's just a gorgeous palette across every book and every color, every cover. I'm like, Chris was like one of my kind of bucket list artists to work with, and I had him on my list for a really long time. And when it came up, usually me and Tim my co-writer Tim Daniel. Hey Timmy. We like different types of art. He likes things to be a little bit more messy and scratchy, and I do like that. But for this kind of story, I wanted something really clean. And when Chris was an option, I said I'm gonna put my foot down on this one. I want Evan Hewson, nobody else. So
He's
shout
been a
out to
gold
Chris.
mine for a while too. Chris is so fantastic.
His
He's
art
so
is so
fabulous.
beautiful. Every page is gorgeous.
Crazy.
And like he has no shortcuts. I'm like, dude, take a panel off or something, and he never does. I mean, it's all beautiful. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate. I've worked with like the majority of these letterers, and they're all fantastic. So that's all I want to say. They're all great. Love them.
Yeah,
So.
they absolutely. They're all amazing. All right, so moving on. Exceptional series. And again, us at Comic Book Yeti, we don't get to read everything. So if there's something that was your favorite, listener, and you're like, oh, you didn't mention, let us know what it is, and we'll take a look. Maybe we just didn't read it yet because we can't read everything. We do read a lot of comics. But go ahead, James. Can you take the exceptional series for 2025?
Absolutely. Ghost Pepper, buried long, long ago. Orla. Dreadnought by Mike Carroll and John Higgins. Rebellion. FML. We're taking everyone down with us. Spectrum. Space Ghost. Tin Can Society. Something is Killing the Children. And Red Vector.
Nice. I didn't put it on there. I put We're Taking Everyone Down with Us in FML, and I don't know if I put Spectre or not, but or Buried Long, Long Ago. But all those, I loved all those this year at Tin Can Society. I love Tin Can Society. But We're Taking Everyone Down with Us, I think, has just the most perfect tone of any book. It's just so ridiculous and funny and like over the top action and explosions, and it's like if Dr. Doom was in a comedy. I absolutely love that book. I think that's one of my favorites, not just of this year but of all time, along with FML, which I think is one of the best books ever made. And I really I'm enjoying Tin Can Society. I think the last issue is coming out soon. That one's getting close to being wrapped up. So that's a really fun, just pretty straightforward superhero story that gets a bunch of twists in it. So check that one out too.
Yeah, I'm not familiar. I'm not sure who put Ghost Pepper on the list. That's one I'm not familiar with, but I definitely want to check out. It looks like the trade will be out February 10th. And I think it's an Image book by Ludo, Lullabi, and Adriano Lucas.
It has some of the best art you'll ever see in there. It's it almost is, I think, a little like manga inspired type art. And I pick it up every single time I go into the comic shop and flip through it. And I'm trade waiting on that one. But yeah, it's I haven't read it yet, but it is beautiful. It is such a great looking book.
Yeah, I want to get in. I don't know anything about it, so I'm excited. That's going to be something new for me to check out. For me, I put Red Vector on the list. Out of all the stuff that I've read this year, I have absolutely loved Red Vector. For all the reasons, I'm a big fan of you, David, and of Tim's work, and for all the reasons you mentioned about Chris Evans Hughes and is it Sean Weegers?
Something.
Or it's with a V, Weegers.
I
Chris's
never said
partner.
her name out loud. It's so bad. I never said her name out loud before. Sean Weisers? She's gonna yell at me.
Yeah,
later.
I apologize.
She won't, because she's too nice. She won't let.
She is too nice, and
But-
I'm sure she gets it all the time.
Yes.
because
Well,
we're
from
all
us Americans.
Americans that are like, oh, what are names? Like we're all none of us can do it. Anyway, sorry.
Her and Chris's work has been great for all the reasons you stated earlier when we were talking about Red Vector. I loved it. Loved the story. It just felt like it was again, something that was right in my wheelhouse, very science fiction-y, like a little Star Wars, a little Enemy Mine, a little, but like a modern take. You're down at the border and you got a bunch of stuff going on with this war that has come to Earth. I just really look. As we're sitting here, I know podcast guests, you can't see this, but this is just for James and David. Look, I got all my issues. I got all 5 of my issues here for Red Vector. I just thought it was like a really fun series. Just had a ton of nods to things that I loved growing up from the 80s and 90s, and I just felt it was a very kind of modern right now take. And it has a cool ass dog in it, and I'm a sucker for a lady protagonist with a cool ass dog. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
I mean, a third of my series I put dogs in, so I can't stop. I had to put my new dog in this one, so it's like wish fulfillment. I wish my dog was as cool as the dogs that I put in the comics.
I think I put in Something is Killing the Children just because that book continues to be really great. I don't know, like it's so I know I buy all the trades. I'm up to number 7. Almost I just keep reading it. I think it's great. It's a great
Yeah.
series. I mean, you kind of like put like a blonde Monster Hunter into a book for me as a Buffy fan. I'm just like, sure, and I'm on board. I'll read anything. That's really ridiculous. Like to put it in front of me, I'll read it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love a good horror story. So, and it's just like
And a lot of series now don't get that kind of for shelf life, to be quite honest. And I think my brother, shout out to my brother Bobby, the Cryptid Creator Corner's #1 most dedicated fan. Bobby listens
Hi,
to all my
Bobby.
episodes.
Hi, Bobby.
We're still working on
And,
Dead Blood. Don't worry, it's coming out.
No,
this year.
Bobby's a huge Dead Blood fan. He's gonna love that. And so Bobby collects it, and I read it. I pick up the comics because I live closer to the shop, so I'll read it before then I give it to him. And I mean, it's up to like at issue 40 something. I think it's in the 40s right now, which is kind of unheard of, and it's still interesting. It's still it's still great. So
And they're
yeah,
planning
absolutely.
to go to like issue 100 or something. Like it doesn't seem to be slowing down, and they're making like a TV show and an animated series. I'm like, go do it. That's great. Do it all.
I'm like, it's not something that happens anymore. Like you said, that we don't get indie series that go this long. So, he's got to be writing for the trade, but also writing for a long series now, which is, something people don't do anymore. It's like this, not since The Walking Dead, really, have we had something that was kind of like started off as maybe it's going to go 5 issues, maybe it's going to go 6 issues, and then, we have to expand this universe and keep this going for 100 issues and keep it interesting and keep writing for the individual issues, but you keep writing for the trade. That's hard, man. That's something that people aren't used to doing anymore, and readers aren't trained to read series that long anymore either. So it's really got to be something special to keep going like that. I put I don't know if I put it, but Buried. I would just shout out Buried Long Ago. I think that was one of the coolest horror series out this year. Just a really cool weaving of like fantasy and reality, and like taking an actual historical event and turning it into this supernatural thing. I think it was great. Had great characters, really well written, really greatly illustrated. The whole quality of the book was awesome. So if you haven't read Buried Long Ago, I have a strong recommendation for that one. Just go pick it up and trade and devour the whole thing. It's great.
Yeah, and especially if you're a horror fan and you have read something or seen something, and you're like, they're not possibly going to kill this character, right? Well,
Yep.
Anthony and Alex answer that question, and it's
that
upsetting.
basically no one is safe.
Yes.
Buried Long Ago.
And if you've seen like Alex Cormack's work in the past with his series with like Rich Dweck, his horror series like this, I think this is his best work, man. He really leveled up this story. I'm like, because I've always been a fan of the visceral nature of his work, but he also is drawing little cute kids like going through this, and I'm like, he really flexed on this series. I think he did a great job. So yeah, it's a strong recommendation for the story, strong recommendation for the art. It's it has a lot of like momentum. Like you start reading, and it just goes. It's no filler, and just a tight, clean, super freaky story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd hate to see if Alex does reference photos. I don't want to see what's in his phone library.
No, I'm good. I'm good with what I saw in that book. That book was horrifying.
He's also crazy fast, Alex. It's wild to work with him. You're like, oh, here's 5. Like, it's just like, you're just shocked. I'm always shocked by how, and I've worked with him now 2 times in the future, probably. But, I can't say anything. Anyway, but yeah, no, he's so fast, and he's also just like the nicest human being. Like, he's such a sweetheart. Like, he's really a pleasure to work with. And
Well, that's
yeah,
good to
Very
hear.
Long Row is great. It's great series.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, moving on to an exceptional anthology for this year. We have Faster Than Light, Volume 2, Sarah Cook. Godzilla, the 70th anniversary. Shook, a black horror anthology. Hello, Darkness. And Aces and Arrows, an asexual and aromantic comic book anthology. That was another one that Lifeline Comics has done. Kat Calamia and Phil Falco. And they did that. I think it was also edited by Jeremy Whitley. So those are our anthologies. I think some of them were crowdfunded, but usually you can still go and get copies of those. The Godzilla 70th anniversary. I haven't read that myself, but I just heard nothing but great things about it. So
I put in Hello Darkness because I love horror. And I just love like the different horror stories that you really see, the array of different horror story. And I love that it's doing so well. Like in a monthly space for an anthology to be doing well, it's really great. Like, it's really reassuring. You get to see a lot of new talent. You get to see a lot of new people. I mean, you get to see very established people, but also like a nice mix of different voices and different talents. And I think that's really reassuring in a way, in today's market. Because it's like I've been so trained to be like, no, anthologies just don't sell in the monthly market. They do better on Kickstarter and those type of platforms. Which I think is great, but seeing that do well in a monthly like retail space is very cool.
Right, and that's Boom Studios is doing Hello Darkness, I think.
Yep. Yeah. It's awesome.
David, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Oh, we can't hear you. Oh no. Uh-oh. We lost David.
We've lost David.
David.
And now I'm back.
Oh, you're back.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Don't look at me. I
Me
figured out
neither.
how the last time I was on StreamYard, I figured out how my mic 30 minutes after the stream ended. I'm like, oh, my mic is working now. So I was here nice and early to get everything working this time, because if I move my computer, if I touch a cord, things go crazy. And I just
don't
moved.
touch anything.
Yeah. I was doing some Googling because I remembered an anthology, and I'm like, did it come out last year? No, so it didn't. So I won't mention it.
All right. Well, that's fine. We're glad you're back, and we can now hear you. You look for a second like a character in Morningstar, where you were just gesticulating wildly, and there was no sound, no lettering.
There's a deer behind you. Watch out.
No, not again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying that the Hello Darkness covers are like some of the best looking covers on the shelves. They're just beautiful every time. And I'm not much of a like, I buy comics for the covers. I'm not that one, but that comic, it's kind of worth buying just for the covers too. Even though the stories are great, but the covers are amazing.
Yep, I agree. All right, moving on. Exceptional original graphic novel. David, you want to take this one?
Let's do it. Have Love Languages, Lake Yellowwood Slaughter, Golden Rage, Mother Knows Best, More Weight, A Salem Story, Ben Wiki. Drome, Jesse Lagernen. The Mushroom Knight, Oliver Bly. And Hello Sunshine, Keezy Young.
All right, I will say Hello Sunshine is what I put on here. I just thought it was absolutely tremendous. Keezy's work is incredible. I mean, the storytelling, the artwork. I just devoured the book, and I've been telling everybody, like, you have to get it, you have to read it. There were so many wonderful things done in it. It's a very interesting story as well, and yeah, I just absolutely one of my favorites that I've read, not just this past year, but in quite some time. Loved Hello Sunshine.
Yeah, I'm a huge Keezy fan as well. I met them at Emerald City a couple of years ago and pretty much bought everything on their table. They have a bunch of little short comics, some about like mental illness, and are very, very honest and real with their work, and just gorgeous artwork, like honest storytelling, and strong recommendation. Pick up everything Keezy Young does for now and forever.
Accurate.
And I put Mushroom Knight, I think, on there. I'm not sure. Maybe I did, because I love Mushroom Knight, and Oliver Bly is a genius, like cool dude, and like his stories are super unique, and his art is like way better than it has any right to be for how good of a writer he is too. It makes me a little mad, actually, because he's too talented and too nice. He sent me a Christmas card. I'm like, oh dude, that was so nice of you. You didn't have to do that. And just one of the best people, but also telling like a super cool, unique story that is grounded in where he's from, and filled with what he's interested in, and is still just a really well told story. So like, big shout outs to Mushroom Knight and Mushroom Knight 2, which
And
I don't know when that's
coming soon. Mushroom Knight 3.
Oh,
No.
Yeah.
Can't
it
keep a
feels
good
like
man
he
down.
could keep going. I mean, it really feels like he could keep going forever, I think.
Yeah,
I know
Oliver's
Byron
amazing.
has talked a lot about Mushroom Knight. Byron has been a big fan of Mushroom Knight, so I'm sure Byron would want me to mention that. I like, and I know my brother loved as well, Lake Yellowwood Slaughter from Goats Flying Press, which I just love the whole concept that it's the official comic book adaptation of a 1983 slasher movie that never existed.
When I saw that
Bobby-
come up, when I saw that launch on Kickstarter, I was so jealous, because I was like, I want us to have that. I was like, what? I was so jealous. I was like, that made me crazy. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
I see.
and then Bobby had backed it and got his copy. It's a great creative team. It's Alejandro Arbona, Gavin Guidry, Chris O'Halloran, and Hassan Otsmeni-Elhau. But yeah, Bobby and I were at Baltimore Comic-Con this year. Gavin Guidry was there. Bobby got his copy signed. But it's just like, it's a fantastic idea. It's such a well executed comic book. So
It's
yeah,
sitting on
shout
my
out to that
nightstand.
as well.
I haven't. It's in my to read list. It's one of the many that
You'll dig it. It's really good.
Yeah,
Really good.
Yeah.
Alejandro,
And I
is
just
great.
picked up Drome. Recently. Jesse Lonergan. I feel like Drome is ending up on a lot of year-end for 2025 best lists, and yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I mean, just Jesse Lonergan's like artwork in it, and for a book that has so few, like not a lot of dialogue, like the storytelling in it is incredible. So if you haven't yet checked out Drome, I highly recommend that one as well.
I'll have to do that. I'm bad about
All
keeping
right.
up with the original graphic novels as much, because I buy so many monthly books, and then I realize that I'm bad, and I have to catch up on everything else that I'm missing out on.
Yeah. Let me
all right.
hate read X-Men first, and then I'll read some.
Yeah, exactly.
God, why did I read this? I hate this book.
Oh my God, what are they doing?
All right, we have a few entries. Clearly, Comic Book Yeti needs to brush up on our manga and other non-Western comics as well as web comics. We have a few to cover. I'm going to go through both of those categories. And I'm one of the guilty ones that I do need to read more non-Western comics. But for excellence in manga or other non-Western comics, the guy she was interested in wasn't a guy at all. The Color of the End, Mission in the Apocalypse, as well as Gran Familia. And then exceptional webcomic, we have Jake Spooky and the Wolves Within Him, Michael Grover, and Lore Olympus. So I'm in a bad spot because I do not read a ton of manga or web comics, but those are the ones that the folks at Comic Book Yeti really wanted to highlight. So if that's something you're into, go check them out. I will at some point. I just was never, manga was not something that I ever like grew up with. And it's funny because my daughter Charlotte, who's 13, reads a ton of comics, but also she reads quite a lot of manga as well. Our local library has like an unbelievably excellent selection, which is great because you'll go in there and you're like, oh, what's My Hero Academia or whatever it might be, and it's like, oh, there's 34 there's 34 volumes. I'm ready to go.
Let me start at One Piece. So, there's 1,000 volumes. Cool.
Yeah,
I'll probably read that.
One Piece, more like 1,000 pieces. Am I right? Anyway. Never read it. No, I'm bad as well. I have not read manga in probably 25 years. I mean, I read manga when I was younger and read with my friend who was very much more into it. So I read a lot of Sailor Moon, Ranma 1/2, Inuyasha. Like I'm dating myself. Like I'm old.
Appleseed. I read Appleseed.
Like just an old man. But I did say Lore Olympus, which I think it's done. I think I'm behind. But I buy the books because I'm again an old man and I don't want to, like, when I'm done working, because all I do is read on a screen.
Yeah,
it's not what I want to do. Like I want to go and like hold a book and smell paper and not my eyes are already just busted.
This is definitely old man podcast. I'm there with you.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm like,
if I can't smell the comic, I mean, what's the point, really?
What's the point? Yeah.
I read a lot of stuff digitally, but I do love to hold like a physical book in my hand. And I do like the smell of comics. So
it's hard to beat. It's just like a book. It's like a tactile thing. It's like real. It's real life. And I spend enough time on the internet.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's certainly true. Okay. For the 2025, the 4th Annual Yeti Awards for Exceptional Crowdfunding Comics Project. James, can you take those?
I'll try. I'll do my best. Danger Boy.
I believe in you.
Yeah. Can I read? I don't know. We'll find out together. Probably not, actually. Danger Boy and the Antagonists. Who Killed Sarah Shaw? Gem and the Holograms, Truly Outrageous Comics Collection. Skull Kickers, the Digest Edition by Jim Zub on Zoop. Loogie, The Fables, Ericking Wood, Juniba, by Juniba. Second Shift by Kit Anderson. By Visibility by Lifeline Comics. By Appointment Only by Wells Thompson. And Futility Shapes by Edward Kane.
All right.
And the winner is... No, I'm kidding.
All of them.
Yeah, I will say that some of the ones that I really liked, and I had mentioned Futility Shapes. That was a comic. I think Edward Kane wrote it, but also I don't want to forget to mention that the artist was Dave Fowler, and then Rob Jones was the letterer on that one. But I really liked Futility Shapes. I thought it was a really interesting kind of premise about a man being made into a machine, and I'll just leave it at that in terms of the description. But I thought that was a really good one. Some of the other ones, like I backed Wells Thompson, By Appointment Only. It was just Wells started out doing stuff for Comic Book Yeti. He did reviews, and then now he's gone on and made comics. He won a Ringo Award this past year for Smut, which is fantastic. But By Appointment Only is like a witch runs a shop, and you can show up and get the witch to, maybe help you out but she's available by appointment only. But Alice and her friend Scarlet, it is a really cute series. It's really fun. I loved by appointment only. And the other one I want to shout out is Who Killed Sarah Shaw? That's written by Frankie White and the artwork by Adam Markowitz. And it was something they serialized on, I think it was Adam's Patreon. Then they collected it all. I think they worked with Dauntless Stories to do a hardcover of it. The premise, for listeners, if you don't know, two podcasters who do like a true crime podcast go to this town to investigate this 40-year-old cold case. And really great story. Really loved it. The book, the hardcover, came out, I think, really well. I got a copy of it upstairs. But yeah, those were some of the projects that I really liked. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything in particular either you wanted to mention in terms of crowdfunding stuff.
I'll shout out Who Killed Sarah Shaw too. I love that book. I thought it was great. It's I think a testament to it that as soon as I was done reading it, I read it a second time because it is a murder mystery. And so once you know who the murderer is, you're like, I want to read it again. See all the clues I might have missed. And they're currently working on a third volume where they're combining the last two books they did into like the same property, which is going to be interesting because one is about being in hell or something. I can't remember what the first one was at.
I had Frank. I was lucky enough to have Frankie and Adam on the podcast, but their first book that they did, Eat My Flesh, Drink My Blood, is insane.
Yes.
I mean, I mean, I was raised Catholic, which you say you tell people you were raised Catholic when you no longer go to church. That's what you have to say. You can't say you are Catholic. But Eat My Flesh, Drink My Blood is insane. And then Who Killed Sarah Shaw? And now their newest one that they're working on now is I Just Came From Hell.
Yes,
which is kind of like a combination. It's one of the characters from Eat My Flesh, Drink My Blood, and I think it's the podcasting team from Who Killed Sarah Shaw. So I can't wait.
I'm super excited for that. I think it's the really cool thing about podcasts, about kickstarting, is like you can get your audience big enough, where you can just do the stories you want to do, and there is something nice to say about just doing it and not having to ask permission and not worrying about like how commercial is this and you can just do like fun stuff. And I mean, I love being in the direct market. I'll always try to be there first, but it's nice to know that Kickstarter is there if you want to tell weird stories like my self-published Dead Blood, which is, my buddy Christopher Alvarez's homage to 90s comics. And it's big and stupid, and no one would publish it once every 3 years. And, and it's our little baby. It's our little bundle of joy. So, I'll shout out Loogie, which was a lot of fun, kind of like a anime style, manga style story about a girl who has slime for hair and lives in a post-apocalyptic wasteland and bounces all over the place and has a super positive attitude. And I love main characters that have super positive attitudes in like the worst situations. It's just such a fun juxtaposition. So that one I loved on Kickstarter too. I will shout out Skull Kickers because that was one of my favorite comics of all time when that came out, and Jim Zub has always been a really great supporter of indie comics. And anytime someone says, oh, I want to break into comics, I always direct them to Jim Zub's website, his YouTube channel, his Patreon.
Yeah,
the dude has thousands of hours worth of quality instruction. If you ever have a question about making comics, at some point he's answered it. So he's basically a one-stop shop for helping out indie creators. So big shout out to Jim Zub, and Skull Kickers is awesome and should have been way more popular than it was. I think if it came out now, would be one of the top books just because of all the D&D love and Critical Role and all that stuff being more popular. I just think he was.
Oh yeah, you're
I think
probably
he was.
right.
I think he was ahead of the curve. And I'm glad Skull Kickers continues to get some love.
Awesome.
I'll also shout out Who Killed Sarah Shaw because I also love that book. That book was really good.
It's really good.
But I added By Visibility from Lifeline Comics, which I think all the work that Lifeline does is really important. I think it's like it's giving voice to people who don't always get a voice in this industry or in a lot of other or a lot of industries, period. So I think their stories are important, and who they're giving opportunities to it's also really important. I also loved I read the Gem and the Holograms when it was first coming out. So I love that they have a full-on collection that everyone can now get. Because it also has so many talented people in it. There's Jen St. Ange, who's amazing, and
Oh yeah,
Meredith McLaren, who's should be a bigger star. She's already a big star, but she should be an even bigger star. But yeah, really talented people and a really fun story. And they should bring Gem and the Holograms back. I've been saying that for a while. So. Just shouting into the void. No one listens. Bye.
Please, it just seems like they should be here. I mean, if we have Space Ghost, why don't we have Gem?
I know. And more women focused licensed properties, please. I mean, I love Buffy. Buffy can keep going forever for me. But I want more women stories. Period. That's it.
Agreed. All right, exceptional comic or graphic novel for kids. David, you mind taking this one?
Let's do it. 10-Ton Titan Terrier through Paper Cuts by David Pepose and Ornelia Greco. Free Piano Not Haunted by Whitney Gardner. I'm pretty sure that piano's haunted. Spoops, The Little Spirits of Halloween, Top Shelf. AJ Locasio, Laurie A. Conley. Lou and Ren's Guide to Geozoology. Yelp, Yeti, Chaos in Kathmandu. Are you going to sue them for infringement? Or what are we doing with this other Yeti people?
Yeti.
Yeah.
I think theirs is already out, so I don't think there's anything I can do. I don't think you can copyright a cryptid.
Not with that attitude.
Yeah, right. What you have to do is find an actual Yeti and get him on your side. Then
that's right.
Yeah.
I'm a lawyer.
Yeti.
I'll represent.
Right,
I'll
represent yourself.
Yeti.
Yeah.
You need
Double
a spokes
booking.
Yeti, and then you'll be all set.
I do need a spokes Yeti.
Double booking The October Girl, Maverick, Matthew Dow Smith. That was two different things, double booking and stop speaking, period. The October Girl, Maverick. Some of these things have long names, so that could be a whole thing. By Matthew Dow Smith was The October Girl. Space Case, the graphic novel, Stuart Gibbs and Ward Jenkins. Yeah, I don't read a lot of kids' graphic novels, but I did check out 10-Ton Titan Terrier by David Pepose because David's my boy, and that was great. So that's all I got to say about kids' graphic novels.
Yeah,
I don't read that many.
I haven't read
either.
10-Ton.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Jimmy. Sorry.
No, go ahead, James. No,
go ahead.
You go.
Let's fight over it.
We're here forever.
Rock, paper, scissors. Let's go. No,
I was.
sorry,
I have
don't
not
read
yet
many...
read 10-Ton Titan Terrier, but Penny got it for Christmas, so her and I will read it together.
Nice.
Now you go, James.
Sorry. I don't read that many kids' books either because I'm, as we've mentioned, an old man.
Yes.
But 10-Ton Titan Terrier. Love David Pepose. Double booking was one I added from Chaz Pangburn and his sister Kim Shearer. Chaz is also an editor at Mad Cave, and he wrote this, and it was for Paper Cuts, and it's a great book. And they had a sequel. They had another volume.
Would that be
great.
Triple booking?
Triple booking
or double.
What's really fun is that you half of the story is told from one of the, it's a sibling story. So one part of the story is told through one perspective, and then they flip it and it's told from the other. It's very cool. Really great, really fun story. Chaz is awesome. His sister's a delight. And then the October Girl, love Matthew Dow Smith for a long time. He's great. So those are my very not impartial. Literally just listed everything from Mad Cave. That's
There you go.
all. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I get to read because old man.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I will shout out. One of the things that I really loved was Matthew Dow Smith's The October Girl, which Charlotte got for Christmas. So hopefully Charlotte, I don't know if she's read it yet, but yeah, I read that. I thought it was tremendous. Loved the story. I love Matthew's artwork. That was really good. And it's a surprise for me, not anything I had read before, but just because I had Stuart Gibbs on the podcast. But Stuart Gibbs' series of books like Space Case, a lot of them are now being adapted. Ward Jenkins did the illustrations for it, but Space Case, the graphic novel, I read it before I interviewed Stuart, and I just thought it was delightful. It's about a kid living on a space station trying to solve a murder, and like it's a really great book. Just was had an absolutely fun time with it, and then just because we are Comic Book Yeti and we do like all things Yeti, but Yelp Yeti Chaos in Kathmandu by Snea Pradhan, illustrated by Promina Shrestha. I haven't read this one yet, but it looks great. Devin his pet cat Tuna spot a Yeti in the city, but no one will believe them. It's a fun pack. Action and adventure graphic reader set in Nepal for young comic fans. So I just read that from the website, but that looks super cute. So yeah, we support all the Yeti stuff. So there we go.
Yetis band together.
Absolutely.
Yes. What do we have to think? What do we call? What would a group of Yetis be? Like an abomination? Is that?
Oh, that's
is that
pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
An avalanche of Yetis.
Oh, an avalanche of Yetis. That's another good one. I like that. All right. So just to finish up with a new category we added this year, I think this was probably inspired by Dan Nixon and Tyler Lance, who have been doing stuff for Comic Book Yeti in like the gaming space, like tabletop role-playing games. We have exceptional game. We only have 2, and I think technically both these came out in 2024, but they were new to us in 2025, so we're going to count it. Wormspan by Stonemaier Games. If anybody has played Wingspan, the game Wingspan, they've done a Finspan, which is all about fish, and now they've done Wormspan, which is dragons. So it's the same board mechanics as Wingspan, but all of the artwork and the cards are dragons. Wingspan is a really fun game. I haven't played Wormspan yet, but I do enjoy Wingspan. And the other one, Harrow County, the Game of Gothic Conflict from Off the Page Games. I'm just a huge fan of Off the Page Games. They had turned Mind Management into a board game. They turned Manifest Destiny into a game called Core of Discovery. New this year, and they went to Kickstarter with Grendel. They turned Grendel into a board game. But Harrow County, I think is fun. You can play as the main character whose name just escaped me from Harrow County, or like a member of the family. And the box artwork with the tree on it turns into a dice tower. So you have to like roll dice and move around trying to defeat your opponent. It's great, and really ties into the comic book as well. Harrow County by Cullen Bunn and Tyler Crook. So if you get a chance if you find it, to get it, it's a really fun game, especially if you're a comic book fan. So
sweet.
Yeah.
I don't have any friends, so I can't play games. Too much time reading and writing comic books.
Yeah, you're just spending time crying, you know.
Yeah.
I don't play a lot of games, and I was like, what's the game I play? I recently bought Marvel Cosmic Invasion, and I was like, oh well, that doesn't count because you guys don't want Big 2, and I was like, well, that's the only game I played. And like, whatever. Anyway, I don't stay on top of games, board games, role play game, any of it. It's bad. I used to play a lot of D&D, but that doesn't that's been around for
I'm
60
playing
years or whatever
D&D
now.
tonight.
So,
You're playing D&D tonight?
Playing D&D tonight with
nice. There you go.
random people from Facebook. So, because like I said, I don't have any
You have no
friends. I
friends.
gotta find them on the internet.
That's
So-
great
Well,
though.
they're
I
your
miss playing
friends.
D&D.
They're your friends, David.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks, guys.
Yeah, we play D&D and just like I mean I'm not the one that made this up. Somebody else said it before, but the biggest villain in D&D is scheduling.
Right.
And
Yeah.
It's been
Truly.
very
Yeah.
very difficult. So sometimes when we can't get together for D&D, like it's not like the whole group, but we'll get together and have a board game night. So Dan Nixon, who does stuff for Comic Book Yeti, and we've gone to PAX Unplugged in Philly a couple of times, which is the big board game convention. And Dan has a ton of games, and he'll just bring a bunch over, and we'll just go through and play. And we started, I think, in 2017. Up until then, I had no idea how like expansive modern board games could be, and the past like I guess 8 years or 9 years now at this point, it's like amazing all the different types of games we played. And it's a lot of fun. There's a ton of fun stuff out there to get a board game and get together and have a game night if you can, if you find some friends. No offense, David.
Don't take it. I gotta go to LA. My buddy Sean Kirkham, aka Big Clutch, he has him and his wife have a huge gaming area with like the Doom, whatever that big game is, with like it's like Gloomhaven. They got all of the board games, and they have all the little card ones. We played a Rick and Morty one that was really fun one time, and so they've got all those kind of games. That's the only time I ever play is when I go down there and get some people together. Yeah, so I would like to play more games, but again, lack of real life friends.
Start working on Red Vector. Red Vector would make a cool board game.
There you go.
Yeah, something to consider for sure.
Nobody's
so
interested in my.
There's so much
Nobody's
work.
interested.
I know how
Like,
much.
okay,
I'm like,
we don't
meh.
want to play. We don't want to do that. We don't want to. do that.
Christopher Alvarez and I made a card game based in the Dead Blood universe. I don't want to turn this into Dead Blood podcast, but we made a little wrestling card game.
I love that.
We were going to kickstart. Awesome. We were going to kickstart, but instead of Kickstarter, we just printed it out ourselves. So we have a little.
There you go.
I got to send you some of those, Jimmy. I'll
send
for your brother. I'll send you a couple of packs.
He'll love it.
Yeah.
No, rate. What did I else just play recently that was comic book based? Radiant Black is a card based game. They made like part of the Massive Verse into a card game, and I played that. That's a lot of fun as well. But yeah, ton of stuff out there if you're into board games. Just Comic Book Yeti site. Dan and Tyler are reviewing board games and telling you what some of their favorite stuff is. So if that's something you're into,
Jimmy's just bragging that he has friends now. It's like,
I have 4, and I'm gonna brag about them.
That's a lot of friends.
Brag. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. All right. Well, that has been the 2025, the 4th Annual Yeti Awards. A very big thank you to David, DB, Andry, and James B. Emmett, my guests today. And thank you to everyone at Comic Book Yeti who put forth their selections for their favorite comic books of 2025. And Megan Matelonek, who also she reads a ton of indie comics. She's on Blue Sky, and she's always posting about the stuff that she loves to read.
Awesome.
I'll put a link in the show notes so you will be able to see all of the quote unquote winners for this year, and you can follow David and James on social media and check out some of the stuff that they have worked on and will be working on. And go if there's something on this list that you haven't read or checked out, please. That's why we do it. We want to point you in the direction of something that we hope you're gonna love. So please go read some comics. So thank you guys very much.
Recommend comics to your friends. Indie comics can live and die on word of mouth. So if you love something or if you like something, shout it out. put it on the internet, tell your friends, tell your comic shop owner, tell everybody that you know that this is a good comic, because 10 more sales is huge for an indie an indie book. We're not doing the absolute Batman numbers, so whatever you can do to help indie comic sales will keep them around for longer. So tell your friends.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it, like David just mentioned too, like if you have a local shop, put something on your pull list, let them know that you want to read this and talk about it. That's one of the best ways, because if they may not be familiar with it, they may not have seen it come across, if somebody hasn't ordered it, but if you mention it and you want it, they might check it out and then recommend it to other customers. It's still one of the best ways to get the word out there about the books that you like, the books that you love. So all right, well, thank you very much. Thank you, David. Thank you, James. I appreciate this so much. Listeners, rate and review the podcast, do all those things they tell you to do. It really does help us as well. And thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.